In this class, we are going to learn how to authenticate the API request that is for Oracle integration or Oracle process automation on behalf of some user using JWT User Assertion, that is by making use of the inbuilt JWT User Assertion security policy for REST connection in our Oracle Integration 3 instance. In our previous classes, we had seen how to generate the JWT User Assertion, that is JWT token, on behalf of some user, that is by using external libraries and all. But with the latest release, Oracle has launched the JWT User Assertion as one of the security policies in our REST adapter or the REST connection. So before we go ahead, let's see the documentation page by Oracle that is for REST connection. I'm here in the official documentation page by Oracle that is on using REST adapter with Oracle Integration 3. From the table of content, you have to go to REST adapter concepts, authentication support, and then invoking Oracle integration flow. So there are a couple of OAuth 2.0 grant types, like one is the JWT User Assertion, which is the concept for today's class. Like that, we have other kind of grant types like authorization code, client credentials, which we had already covered in our earlier classes. Now we will quickly go to the JWT User Assertion over here. Let me scroll down. In order to make use of JWT User Assertion OAuth 2.0 authentication for our Oracle integration APIs, there are few prerequisites we have to follow. First is we have to generate the key. Then we have to configure the confidential application in our IAM. Then we have to upload the certificate in the trusted partner. Then comes the user assertion token generation. This will be done by integration for us. Now we will quickly generate the key for our confidential application using these methods. There are 4 steps over here. That is, one is to generate the self-signed key pair. Next is to export for signing the JWT assertion. Next, we have to convert the key store to the P12 format, and then ultimately we have to export it as a primary key, that is in .pem format. I have summarized all those steps over here in this notepad file. I will quickly generate the files by following these steps. All the steps which I have mentioned over here in the notepad are in line with Oracle's documentation. Just I have put my own alias names and few other things. That is the password I have given like store pass. You can change as per your convenience, and the alias I have given as assert test01. So I have followed same everywhere over here. So you can change as per the convention you are following in your project. In order to generate those files, we can make use of command prompt on our Windows computer or terminal on your Linux or Mac operating system. Since I am using the Windows 11 operating system, I will just right click over here and click on open in terminal. So this is going to open up the PowerShell. I will be running all the statements over here. First, I will run this statement which will generate me the signed key pair. Let me paste it over here, click on enter. It's asking for the first name. Let us quickly populate those details. Last name is learning. Organization we will give as beenumlearning. What is the name of your city or locality? We will give as Mumbai. Next, it is asking for state. We will give Maharashtra. Country code IN. So this is correct. Yes, this is correct. Next, this is asking for the password. We will try to keep the password same. That is learn test. I will give everywhere. I will quickly write over here learn test. Enter. Again, it is asking to confirm. I will give learn test and enter. So our file has been generated successfully. So we'll just confirm. So our file is over here. So it has successfully generated the .jks file. Next in our step is to export this as a public key. Let me just quickly copy this and paste it over here. I click on enter. Our CER file, which is a public key, has been generated successfully. Let me clear this terminal. Next step over here is to convert this to the P12 format. Let me copy this statement. So nothing to worry, all these statements are from this documentation. Let me paste it over here, click on enter. Our third key has been generated, that is in P12 format. And the last step is to convert this to the PM file, that is to private file. Let me just run it over here, this statement. It's asking for the password. We will give same learn test. So our private key has been generated successfully. So we have successfully generated our key, that is a private key. Next, we have to create the confidential application in our IAM or IDCS. I have logged into my Oracle Cloud account. From the navigation menu, I will go to Identity and Security. From here, I will click on Domain. We have to select the appropriate domain. In my case, it's a default domain. Now the screenshots will vary between the documentation and the IAM. So I'm making use of the latest IAM over here for our Oracle Cloud account. So in order to create the confidential application, we have to click on this integrated applications. So once you click on the integrated applications, you will be landed into this page. From here, we have to click on add application. Then we have to select confidential application. As it is mentioned over here, we have to select the confidential application. Click on launch the workflow. I will name this as, this is for OIC JWT User Assertion. Let me copy this name from here and paste it over here in the notepad so that we can refer at the later point of time. Rest of the things I will keep default as of now, and I will click on submit. So once you have created your confidential application, next step is you have to click on submit. Then you will be landed into the configuration step. So what I will do is I will look the documentation over here. We have to go to client configuration and we have to select over here auth configuration, edit the auth configuration. We have to tell configure the client. Next, we have to select the JWT assertion. So this is what it is mentioned over here. Also, we will check mark refresh token so that we don't have to re-authenticate every time we need to renew our session or the authentication. Then we can leave this redirect URL. It's not used over here as it is not 3-legged. Just we are using it as a 2-legged auth 2.0 authentication. Next, we have to tell on behalf of, we have to authenticate over here. And the client type, we have to tell it is a trusted, not the confidential. So these two things we have to take care. Next, everything we can bypass, but the key which we have generated over here, we need to upload in the next step. So for that, we have to click on the import certificate. Alas, we will keep same like what we have used in our steps over here. This one, Azure test 01. Put it over here and select the file. I will click on this file selection. So we have to select the PEM file, this one, click on open, and we have to click on import. So we have imported successfully our PEM file and we have provided the alias as Azure test 01. Next, we have to provide the scope for which we want to use this user assertion. Scroll down over here and we have to tell add the resources. Click on add resource. From here, we have to select what APIs we want to authenticate with this confidential application. If we checkmark this, we can authenticate using this confidential application, or we can generate the user assertion token on behalf of any user to authenticate the integration which are built by the customer. Suppose if you want to authenticate the factory APIs, that is the Oracle integration product APIs, then we have to select this IC/API. Similarly, OPA also you can authenticate in the same application. At the time of invocation or generation of the token, we have to select for which purpose we are generating this token. So all this thing is part of the documentation. So we click on add. So before submitting, we will have a quick look on the documentation if we have missed something. So that's it. We have to do over here. Click on submit. We are getting the error, API error, failed to pass the certificate data. It looks like we have imported a different certificate. Let me just import the certificate again. Give the alias, select the certificate. Previously, I have selected the .pem file. We can select this .cer. Click on open, not the .pem file. I will tell you where we have to upload the PM file. This is the mistake I did. Click on import and click on submit. This time it should be submitted successfully. Done. Our JWT user assertion confidential application has been successfully created or configured. Next, we have to activate this. Click on action. Click on activate. Activate the application. You have to make sure the users are appropriately added to their roles in the domain that is under the Oracle Cloud Services. So based on the roles which you have added for the Oracle integration, like the developer, administrator, then only the token will be authenticated on behalf of a user and they will be allowed to carry out the transactions. Like for example, I am authenticating for integration APIs. I will go to my integration instance. The token on behalf of whom we are generating the tokens, they must be added to the appropriate roles over here. Like a user could be a developer, they can have an invoker role monitor. So accordingly, you can add the group in which the user belongs or directly the user over here. So this is the thing you have to take care. Next, after performing all these steps, what Oracle is saying is we have to add the same certificate which we have uploaded in the confidential application that is in the trusted partner. We have to go to security over here in the domain. Under the security, you have to scroll down and locate this trusted partner certificate. Click on import certificate. Alas, you have to give the same what you had given in the confidential application. We have to select the file. I will select the same file, that is .cer. click on import. Done. So these are the steps we have to do on the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure side. Next, we are going to the Oracle integration. Just make sure you log in integration instance as an administrator. I have logged into my Oracle integration instance using the admin. Next step, what we have to do is we have to upload our certificate, that is the private key certificate over here in the Oracle instance under the settings by following this documentation. I am here in the documentation page, that is to invoke a service provider API using the JWT assertion. So we'll be uploading our private key over here, which we generated earlier. Click on the settings, click on the certificates. Here you have to click on upload button. From the type, you have to select the signing key. In the alias, you have to give the same alias which you have used while generating the key, that is assert-01. I will provide it over here. Next, we have to choose the file from our computer. Click on choose file. From here, we have to select this private key.temp and click on upload. You have to get this message, certificate was uploaded successfully with the name this alias. Once this is done, we have to create the integration. I have created this project with the name JWT token, and I have created one trigger REST connection to expose my integration over a REST protocol. Now our focus is to create one REST connection which we can use in order to call the OIC REST APIs using the JWT User Assertion security policy. Let me click the edit. Suppose if you want to create from scratch, let me delete this and I will click on plus, and here we have to search for the REST. It's over here, and I will tell this is for OIC REST JWT conf. I will be making use for Invo. Click on create. So once you have created, you have to provide the connection type as base URL. Next, you have to provide the URL of the server which you want to authenticate. In our case, what we will do is we will try this connection to call the integration API. For demonstration purpose, we will call this integrations API, which can retrieve the list of all the integrations in our integration 3 instance. I'm here in the official documentation page, that is for REST APIs for Oracle integration 3. So you can call any integration APIs from here. So we have to give the base URL for this. Coming to the relative URL, we can give the relative URL at the time we are invoking our connection. Now, in order to get the base URL, you can get the base URL for your integration from the OCI or from the URL in the browser tab. Anything you can use. I will go to my integration instance in my OCI. I will copy this runtime URL. I will paste it over here. In the security policy, I will select the auth using JWT User Assertion. Coming to the access token URL, this is the token URL we have to generate based on our IDCS or domain URL. In order to get the domain URL, you have to go to the appropriate domain in your instance. Let me go to the domain. This is my default domain. Now the URL, in order to access this IDCS or domain, it will be available over here. So this is how to copy. And you have to append this auth to v1 token. So this is the URL we have to use in order to get the token from our IDCS or from the domain. So these details are available in the documentation. I'm not telling anything from my side. So all these things are available over here in the documentation, how we have to generate the token. If you look at this API, so here we have to give the base URL of our IDCS instance, then we have to append auth to v1 token. Same thing I have populated over here. Next, JWT header in JSON format. So the sample for this is available here. So this is the sample provided in the documentation. In the header, we have to provide the JSON something like this, and in the payload, we have to provide the JSON something like this. So here key ID, it is nothing but it is the alias name. That is, we have provided this alias name when we uploaded the certificate in confidential application as well as in the integration. We have to populate over here in the key ID. Subject. So subject is the one where we have to give the username of the user on behalf of whom you are generating the token. Next, ISS, this is nothing but it is the confidential application client ID, so that you will get from the integrated application which we created earlier, that is here. The client ID for this confidential application we have to populate. I have already created the file. This is for the payload. I have populated the client ID for our confidential application, and this is the user on behalf of whom I want to generate the token. Now this is the header file I have created, and this is the alias name. I will upload the header file first. Click on this, choose the file. Let me select the header JSON, upload. Coming to the payload, choose the file, payload.json, upload. Coming to the alias, I have to give the alias name over here. Next, the most important thing, the scope. Suppose if you are calling the integration, that is by generating the token with this connection, then we have to scope of that integration. So we can get the scope for the integration by navigating to our confidential application, go to the auth configuration. So in the scope, you have to locate which API you have to call. So using this, you can call the integration, and using this, you can call the factory APIs of integration. I will populate both over here. If you are providing more than one URL in the scope, you have to put a space, one letter or one character space. Then we have to copy this from here, and this we have to provide it over here, space and tab out. So this much you have to do. Once you have populated all the details, click on test. So we are getting successfully tested, click on save, and we have to go back. Now we can create the integration with this connection once the status is turned to configured. Our connection is now turned to configured. I will quickly create one integration and expose over a REST protocol. I will tell REST test JWT INT, click on create. I will quickly populate this trigger connection details. I will name this as trigger, click on continue, and I will give some dummy /test, and I will just click on continue and finish. Just it is a dummy request I'm creating. But in your actual case, you have to define what request response you want to send from this integration back. Next, I will consume my JWT connection over here. I will tell over here the invoke JWT connection. Then I can provide the details as it is mentioned over here in the documentation. Let me copy the same, and I will provide it over here. As per the documentation, if you want to configure the response, you can configure it over here. I will click on continue and finish. But in your actual use case, you have to populate correctly the details. Then the main thing over here is in the mapper. In the payload, that is in the payload.json, you had provided this subject and uploaded the same file in the connection. Now suppose if at the runtime you want to authenticate the API on behalf of someone else, then you have to pass in the subject that particular person's username. Now by default there will be a subject. If you want to authenticate based on the caller of the integration, then you can map subject to subject. So whoever has called the integration, that particular user's username will be available in the subject. So if you map like this, that username will be propagated. Suppose you tell that I'm getting the data from some API or internally from the database, and from there I'm getting the value I'm storing in some variable. Then that variable you can drag and drop like this, or you can hard code over here like alex@example.com on behalf of whom you want to generate. So what it will do is at runtime it will overwrite this payload.json here. So this is the place where this subject will be overwritten, this subject. Suppose if you want to overwrite, as I told, based on the caller for this integration, then you can map subject to subject like this, subject to subject. So in that case, whoever is calling your integration, same person's username will be sent to the REST API, and on behalf of them, the token will be retrieved. So like this, you can make use of JWT User Assertion security type in REST connection and authenticate on behalf of someone and call the REST APIs for OIC and OPA.